Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Well, we're going to pick up on this Poulan again. If you remember from the last video, we've got a broken off bolt, and it is in the valve cover. And that is an issue. We got to drill that out. And so you got a steel bolt and an aluminum head. That's pretty common to be broke off. Steel and aluminum don't get along well together. There's only one problem with this, and that is aluminum's way softer than steel. So what we got to do is try to be as centered as we can on that bolt. Now, we're having to do this by hand, and the reason we're having to do this by hand is we really don't want to take that head off and cost us a head gasket if we don't have to. If it looks like we're running into an issue, that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to take that thing off. Well, let's do our best not to. So I'm going to select an actual cobalt drill bit. I've got these titanium bits from Harbor Freight, and I got to tell you, they're good for some things. This ain't one of them. There may be a point where I have to use one, though. But I've got an actual cobalt bit. They look a little bit different. And we're going to try to ream that thing out. Now, we do have one problem. And that one problem is where to put you so that you can see, but I can still get at what I'm doing. Let's see if we can manage something here. I'm thinking I'm going to put you over on this side right there. Now, I might get in your way. There's not a lot I can do about that. This is a pretty simple, straightforward thing. Now, we want to get as close to the middle of that bolt as we can, and we want to continue that all the way through. And the problem is, in a drill press, this would be easy. Get your table squared up, and as long as you don't wander it around, if the bit's too skinny, they'll tend to wander a little. As long as you don't wander it around too much, you'll be okay. This one, I have no way to center punch that because I don't have what it would take. And I'm in reverse. And I already know this thing's going to want to wander a little. Yeah, she's all over the map. So we may have to try another plan. Basically, what I'm going to do is get a dimple in the center of this. So let me bring you back after I find a way to do that. All right, let me get you back over here as much as I can. This ain't going to be perfect, I got a feeling. Anyway, I've got a little dimple in it now. All I basically did was lean on it and keep starting it and starting it and starting it until I finally got it to stay there. That's not ideal. Ideally, you'd want to center punch it with something, but we're not in a place where we can really do that. Now, what we got to do is apply a lot of force to this drill bit at a low speed. It's strange but true. On drill press, that's easy. But where I'm at, it is not. So I've got to get myself in a position where I can kind of lean on this. And drill as straight and true as I can. Nice long shavings, I like that. Still going. Now you may have noticed, or you may not have, that this bit is significantly smaller than the bolt. That's not an accident. You always want to start small. All right, we're getting there. It's only maybe a ½ inch. Feels like more. Whew. Now, we're not all the way through yet. But this wouldn't be the worst time to try and put an easy out in it. Doesn't mean we're going to get it. We've definitely got a deep enough pocket to get a hold of it. We can always drill more if we have to, and we almost certainly will have to. But I'm trying to disrupt this the least I can. We're going to want this small easy out. Should just fit in there. Now, an easy out's a funny thing. It's like an extremely coarse threaded screw, and it's threaded the wrong way. The idea is, because of the way this thing's threaded, when you turn it counterclockwise, the direction that would unscrew that bolt, it digs in, which gives you a better and better purchase. There's just one problem. When it digs in, it expands the bolt. If it's going to come out easy, it won't be a problem. It won't have a chance to expand it. But if it's not going to come out easy, like this one, it's not even trying really. I could hammer on it, but that's just going to expand it more. So we're going to drill some more. I'll put this easy out over here on this little bench that you can't see. This little stool, where it's nice and close. Let's see if we can drill this some more. This baby, I gotta tell you, for just an old bolt, that is some hard stuff. I mean, they surely wouldn't put a grade 8 in a valve cover. It's not like it's under any strain. Nevertheless, that's a bad sign. Drill bit slipped. That probably means I'm about through. I'm applying gentle pressure now, slowly ramping it up because I feel I'm biting through and I want to break off my bit. Going slow, nipping at it. There we are. We are completely through now. Now, let's see how bad a job I did. I am just off center a little on this side, and off center on that side too. Nothing can be done about it. Let me get my easy out. I don't know that the easy out's going to be the answer, but I'm just pecking this a little bit. I don't want to go ape on it. And getting a hold of it with this little dinky wrench. And I got my crescent wrench the wrong way. Yeah, she's not going to come out like that. So, what to do? Well, may have to get a punch, peck on it a little bit. See, it looks like that I have nicked the threads, which doesn't matter as long as you don't bore the threads completely out. Nicking the threads a little is okay. And something like this, it's not going to have any power on it. I mean, how tight do you really have to have your valve cover? But if I've got aluminum all the way across the top, as this did inevitably drift up just a little bit, probably when I was pushing on it where I couldn't, you can't look and push that hard at the same time. Well, anyway, I'm going to see if I can't get a punch and knock it loose from the threads a little, because right now it's rusty, and that's what broke it off. If I can get rid of that rust and get this thing where it's mobile, and having that open at the top a little, kind of like a C shape now, is going to be a great thing for that. I may be able to just jimmy it around in a hole enough to unscrew it with like a screwdriver or something. That actually happens pretty often. You get the screwdriver wedged in there against the back of the hole, which on this case is in the bottom, Let's see if I can get you where you can see. Okay, so our hole's a little off center, but a screwdriver wedged against this thick part of the bolt that's left, and one edge, as you turn it, will just kind of rock that baby right out of there. But for the time being, I'm going to have to spray it, maybe hit it with the torch, I don't know. And you might ask yourself, well, why in the world did you leave this valve cover on while you did that? It's mostly to keep these shavings out of the engine. I don't need them in there. It wasn't really in the way. It didn't affect how straight that hole is going to be drilled by hand. But it was cheap insurance to keep things like this out of your block. You don't want them little coily cues in there. It's a bad thing. All right, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so here's what we're going to do now. I'm going to take this hammer, mallet, and this little screwdriver. I'm going to get a hold of this and just peck it, just a touch. And my goal is to loosen this from those threads. Problem is, I got to do that in a way that ain't going to work. That I'm not dinging up the hole here, because if I ding up this hole, I'm done. I'll never get it out. Now I've got some needle noses here. I'm going to put that in round side on the bottom and turn it if I can. What I may have to do is take that valve cover off it. I don't want to take off. I didn't bring my tools. I ain't going to do it with needle nose pliers. Let me try these shorter ones, see if I can get the angle I need. I can't. Really. This would be ideal because this is round on one side and flat here, which kind of matches what I got. Which means I should be able to turn this a little bit and get the rounded edge against where the threads used to be, but the flat edge against the edge of the bolt. But yeah, this is going to be an infernal pain in the bootski. So I can try to torch it a little bit. I want to take this thing off pretty bad, so let me round up what I need for that. I got a crescent wrench right here, that'll do it. That's one. It's two. Let me turn these a couple of licks and they'll come out by hand. That's one. All right, come on, come on. Oh my God, crescent wrenches. One size fits none. Kind of like a painter's hat. It says one size fits all, but don't fit anybody right. All right, get that bolt out. Get this bolt out. She's loose. As easy as this is to remove, only a fool would leave it in there and then heat it up with a torch. It's out of the way enough now. Can I go ahead and save not going to get the proper tool for the job again? Not likely. Yeah, I'm going to have to get it. All right, well, I don't technically have to take that off. It'd be nice to have it out of my way. So I'll be back. Okay, I've cracked those loose. Let me get them out of here. Coming out a lot easier this time. That time I removed them. Not easy. Really not easy. They were in there and all the way out they were fighting me. And this one up top, because it had been left out in the water and because it's in the rain, and this little spot on top, let's see if you can see that, as you see, will hold liquid. It's holding oil right now, even with a hole in that bolt. And it was really holding liquid when there was no hole. Basically, hey, oil. Yeah, that's not what we want at all. Okay. Now, let's see if this will let me do what I need to do. What I need to do is have this in here and then turn. Can I get a hold of it that way? No. It'd be nice if I could go the other way, but I ain't gonna do that either. Let me try a different tool. See if I can get in there with this. That'd be nice, but that wouldn't be possible. Okay, torch. We got wind. Wind plus torch. Not a good thing. I'm just going to heat this aluminum, and I'm going to not heat that steel as much as I can. Aluminum hot, steel not. That's the goal. Oh, I see bubbles. Bubbles are good. Bubbles means that penetrating oil is getting in there. Don't blow out. Freaking wind. Whoa! Hey, that's hot in front. I thought I was far enough away. Guess what? I wasn't. I wasn't far enough away. All right. Well, that's hotter than it was. Let me get my easy out. My crescent wrench. My mallet. This ain't gonna work. Ain't no way. But we gotta try it. Slipping on the easy out because crescent wrench, I'm sure they make a proper tool for turning that easy out, and I'm equally sure I don't own it. I don't understand how I'm supposed to turn that. What size wrench that is. There must be something you can. I mean, I want to put vice grips on it. That's a logical solution, but not the one I'd like to do. Let me heat that a little more, because I'm sure it's getting cool. It's aluminum after all. This time we're going to endeavor not to put our hand in front of the torch. That was hot. I still feel it. I don't see a burn, but I sure feel it. I know what a peanut feels like. I was dry roasted. Now this isn't a map torch. This is just a propane torch, so we're not going to be melting aluminum today. We're not getting her that hot, but we are trying to get her a little warm. All right. Got this screwdriver here. Can we do what we said earlier? Can we get a hold of it enough to turn it a little? Not so much. Well, and our big plan for these is not going to work either, because I just can't get a hold of what I need to get a hold of. Turn that just a little more. If I could just get a hold of that bolt a little, it'd come right out of there. But I can't. We're going to have to drill it straight through and tap it. I got a bad feeling. I don't really want to drill a bigger hole yet. I don't. More hole is not better. Really. I do have bigger bits. Let's see here. We can go up size to this one, for instance. All right, let me get another bit in here, see what we can. Oh my, I really tightened that. Well, it's a drill bit's fault. It wanted to slip. I didn't want it to. So there it was. All right, got a little. These are machinist bits. These are something come from a machine shop, and I don't know what that threaded into, but that is some good steel bit there. And it fits in my drill chuck, so whatever it is, it's good enough. Anything that fits in my drill is good enough. Anything with a square shank or something, it's cut off where it's round. because I got to be able to use them or a tool's useless. Now we're going to ream this out again, much the same way we just did. Only one problem. Tighten that chuck more. Yeah, we're going to have issues, I already see. I don't like doing this. God, I can't tighten it much more. I may have to get my corded drill. Okay, we're through. And there's the shavings that I was worried about. Should put that valve cover back on, at least temporarily, just a little bit. It's all right, I got them. They're right where I want them. That ain't. This knocked something off. It's probably the easy out. Oh yeah, right through she went. Here it is. Get these shavings I definitely don't want there. Get this rag. This would have been a good idea in the first place, huh? All right. Spray. Oh my friggin' God, would you look at the size of that red wasp? Ow. Hammer time. Oh, you leaving? Because I got to tell you, that is your best possible plan. No, you're not leaving. You're just getting where I can't give you a good whack. I don't know what's wrong with that wasp, but we're going to have issues, he and I. Let's see if I'm going to have to get the spray. Here, we ain't even into spring good yet. Oh, I don't need spray. I got ether. Ether will put him right to sleep, so to speak. You still in there, sir? I'm ready to send you to your maker. No? All right. All right, I'll just keep that nice and close and try not to get it mixed up. Get my spray here. Give that a little squish. Now let's look at how much bolt is left. A lot less, obviously. Can I get a hold of it now? Because that'd be great. We'll wipe that metal up, what little of it there is. There is still some. I don't want none of it in the engine. Okay, there's none down below. Yeah, there's just a touch. Let me get that needle nose pliers in there. Just mop that right up. There's one little piece that I couldn't quite get. I need a screwdriver. Can't get it with them. Yeah, we don't want no part of that. Let me look. Yeah, it's got it. Okay. Just a little scrap right there. Okay. Now, open these up way farther than they're meant to be opened. Stick it in. Wiggle it around a little and see if I can get a hold of that bolt. No? All right, screwdriver. Well, is that another freaking wasp? I'm getting paranoid now. Where the heck's that mallet? Oh, I'm up here. Let's see if I can't bang on this just a little bit and get it out of that hole. Oh, that felt like progress, actually. Yeah, that moved a little. Very little. But any progress is progress. When you got a broke off bolt, you just got to hope for the best anyway. Let's see here. I'd love to have a better way to do this, but it's movement. It ain't a lot of movement, but it's movement. Now, if I could just turn that. Oh. I just don't have what I need, and an easy out's not the answer. I wish it was. This easy out's definitely not the answer now that I've reamed it out the next size. Let's try the next easy out. Problem is, I'm digging into the aluminum too, and it's going to be much more inclined to dig into that aluminum than it is that bolt, unfortunately. Because my hole is not perfectly centered and it never had a chance of being. If I could just get it cracked loose, I could take it out with almost anything. But getting it cracked loose is another story. All right, well, I'm going to leave it here for a second, and I'm going to look around and see what I've got that I could possibly use to crack that loose, and we'll be back. So what we're going to do here is not the way to fix it, but it is the way to fix it cheap. That hole will work with the valve cover, meaning it is in the correct spot enough that it will line up with the hole. What I have here, this is one of the bolts that came out of it, 1/4x20. This is a 1/4x20 tap. It's a snug-ish fit, but it should be right. And what we're going to do is tap that hole. Aluminum, steel, and all. That's a very bad idea. Worst case, I've got another head if I have to have one. I don't want to have one. I'd like this to work. Problem is, this is an econo job. We need to do it as right as we can while maintaining an eye on the budget. So I'm going to go slow and gentle with this tap and see if I can't tap that hole. I believe that I can. So far, we're having pretty good luck. Or so it would seem. It does feel like it's going in. And it is not really resisting as much as I expected. The reason I'm turning it back and forth there is it is resisting some. That hole's full of oil. It's got access to bug. It's got access to oil, but wow, that does not look straight. Not sure what it's doing there, but it does not look straight. At least we're not in much. I'm going to have to change positions here. I can't do what I need to do from the position I'm in. All right. Tighten that. I can crescent wrench. This may come as a surprise, but this tap and die kit came with a little handle that you're supposed to put on to do this job. That little handle lasted almost all the way through the first job. That was over. That's better. Now if we can just keep our momentum up. Remember, we're tapping mostly through aluminum here. I know it's sitting in oil, but I'm going to give it a little anyway. I can get it in there. Just a little, we don't go too crazy. Anyway, we're going to proceed like that. If something bad happens, I'll turn the camera back on. This is going to be long-winded, so not much point wasting film on this. Well, that was relatively uneventful. Now we're just going to take the tap back out of here. We can get this crescent wrench unbound. Just unscrew. I put her in almost all the way through to be sure I was tapped all the way through. And we are. This is very tiring on the arms. Okay, there we go. Wouldn't be, but I'm having to reach so far. Got to reach around the camera. All right, we're out. Now, to be triple sure, we get our original bolts. Yep. And she's snugging up just a little bit, but I believe that's going to be for the best because they're 1/4 by 20. Oh yeah, no, they're not snugging up. It's just hard to hold on to. It's going to go. Okay, well, that's what we're looking for. So we have successfully repaired that without removing the head, and in such a way that it will work with the original bolts, so you're not one odd-sized bolt. I have seen that many times. All right, let me clean my work area up here, which is basically a matter of being sure I ain't got metal shavings in there. Suck up this extra oil that's just chilling out in this hole. And get that out of the way. Then we're going to get this valve cover. We're going to place it right back on where it was. Just like so. It amazingly enough didn't leak when we had it off a minute ago. That in. That in. And we're going to use our new hole. I'll have to go get another bolt. I got them. Every dead motor, every one that's blowed up and ain't worth fixing, is a treasure trove of extra bolts. Okay, this is going to work lovely. Get my ratchet here. Do-de-do-de-do. It's nice to put a bolt in, not have to apply any force. So I really don't need this ratchet handle, do I? A little leaky oil there. That'll stop when I get all the bolts in. So it may have been off a little, but I wasn't off very far since I didn't have to screw with this valve cover to get that back on there. I'm going to go find another bolt, put that on, and we will be finished on this end of the engine. So the next time you see us, we're going to get around, get this air cover back on, the air cleaner cover. And, well, that's not really what it is anyway. It's the shroud, the air ducting cover. Keeps the air around the engine here that this thing sucks up top. Okay, I shall return once I have restitched this together. Well, it's been a few days. We've had a little rain. I need to address those frayed wires there and some heat shrink on them, do some soldering. You really miss this algae or lichen or whatever. I'd say it's lichen. When it was raining, that stuff was fluorescent green. I mean, it brightened up. It looked like it was really going to take hold and go. In fact, I think it has spread just a little bit. So I had a pretty good garden worth of that going. This thing being stored outside in a place that's typically kind of wet. You know, South Central Missouri gets more than its fair share of the rain for half or 3/4 of the year, it seems like. Let me get you set up here. I don't know that I can really improve on that. About as good as I can do. I'm going to have to get my stool. I thought I had everything I needed, but I did not. All right, got the stool. And we'll grab the ye old bucket of soldering equipment, because we're going to need that for sure. Let's see here. I think I am going to change this camera situation just a little bit. I'm going to switch this plug to here. See if I can't get that camera a little closer so you guys can see what's going on. See what that looks like. Well, it's got to be better. It couldn't be worse. All right, the seat's still peeing out water. All right, let me get my soldering stuff. I could go with a little iron, but I'm not going to. I'm going to use the monster. And I'm probably going to use the monster-sized one because it's a twofold problem here. Yeah, that stuff will do. And I need the solder and a little gas torch, heat shrink, and the biggest, oldest soldering iron I own. Oh, I hope there's enough cord. That could be a problem. So I was worried about this problem earlier. Get that plugged in. Find a spot to set that that's relatively safe. That is an old soldering iron. She's back from the day when they still put cloth cords on equipment instead of rubber, because natural rubber didn't last very long out in the elements. Now I've already twisted these together, so I'm going to take them apart again. And the reason is, I just twist them together enough to test it. That is not how I want them twisted together. Ideally, if you're going to be soldering something like that, you kind of want them twisted together a little different. Show you what I mean here in a second. I'm going to find some heat shrink. There's one. Do I have any small green ones? Not that small. I guess we're going with the black ones. All right. Okay. So we start by slipping the heat shrink on first, because if you don't do that first, you're not going to be able to come back and do it later. I got to have enough room to slide it down away from the heat, or it will prematurely do its thing. All right. Now I'm going to twist those together in opposite directions around each other. That probably didn't make a lot of sense, but I don't know how I would get the camera here to show you. Basically, the idea is to make it so that they're fighting to stay connected to each other. Yeah, I'm sad that I can't get the camera any closer. I'd love to show you what I'm doing there, but it's pretty simple. You take the two wires and put them like this. And then what you're doing is bringing this one over this way. That one goes over that way. And you twist them together so that they're interlinked, not like this and twisted together, but more like this and then twisted together so that it's a straight continuous piece with each side wrapped around the base of what's stripped on the other side. It works pretty good. It's the way I was taught to do it anyway. Now this relic gets hot pretty quick. Not that quick though, we're still waiting. I'm going to need more cord than I got, but what you got's what you got. I'm going to pee with the pecker I came with. All right. I could probably get the other ones ready. That soldering iron scares me just a little because it is not the coolest thing to be just laying around here. If it falls on that battery, it'll melt a hole right through it, for instance. And it'll do it quick enough that I might not be able to stop it. You take these apart, straighten this curly one out. My hands are right in your way, so you can't really see anything I'm doing. I just don't have a better means of doing this. All right, that goes up. All right, so anyway, I put the wires over each other. Like, you can't see that. Well, anyway, this is how I do it. And this one's barely got enough wire to do it at all. Oh, I need a heat shrink. I'm glad I was having trouble. I'll stretch that one. I'm going to put this one on the top half. It just looks like it'll work better. Okay. Take this one apart completely. Get it out of my way. Yeah, that didn't work. Out of my way. We're working on the green one here. Quit getting out of cantankerous. All right. Getting that to fold over when it's a nice short piece like that ain't easy either, but it'll do. Okay. Those two are ready. This iron's probably hot now. It don't take long. Yeah. So, it looks like it's working. I usually put a little solder on, knock it off. Put a little solder on this side, try and clean the tip with the rosin a bit. It sort of works. Wiping it on a wet cloth works best. I don't have a wet cloth. I'm not going inside to get one either. You get this hot, sneak a little solder in. Come on. There it goes. Once it's soldered, get out of there before I melt the insulation because this is a hot iron. There are advantages to a hot iron. You would think, oh, well, it's too hot. Well, the thing is, the faster you do it, the less hot the part gets. If you can get in there, get it heated, and get out, that's better than if you spend all day trying to heat it up and it's slowly getting to temperature, but it's getting the wire and insulation all hot on both ends and melting it off. Now, this didn't really damage insulation at all that I can see, but it's because I got in there, got it hot, and got out fast enough that it didn't have a chance to react. Now we're going to push that heat shrink up over that. Good luck. There it goes. And just a little more because there seems to be a nick right there. Not that I think it matters. Then I've got one of these little jet torch lighters, which I have found works best for this job. You just hit the button, give it a little heat. The heat shrink shrinks. You can get in and get out fast. Job's done without melting anything. Let me go over here to this one, slip it down, put it about the middle. Unless there's, like this one had a nick, I scooted it up some. Normally you'd want that about the middle, but that particular one was a problem. It had a little nick. I'm not sure how that would have gotten injured, that wire, how that got cut. I'm assuming someone cut it. It looked like a clean cut. But that don't mean nothing, because mice will chew a wire right in half and it'll look like it's been cut sometimes. Sometimes it's very obvious it was a mouse. One to go. And that's this one. And it's, the wires are all kinky from being twisted together earlier, so I got to straighten them out some. Try to get them to reach each other. There's barely enough wire for this. One over that way. One over that way. Just twist them together. Oh, hell. Might put some heat shrink on it. I just can't seem to remember that. Starting over. We do it right because we do it twice. All right, try again. Oh my God, give me just a little bit more wire. I hate to pull on it, but sometimes that is what's indicated. Okay, these two are not at all twisted together properly. I need more, and I can't get it. Oh, and there's that heat shrink. Get your butt back up in, way up in there. And don't come back until I tell you. All right. Man, that's hard to twist together. It's little fiddly stuff like this you've really got to have patience for. It's not going to get done if you get mad easy. You just got to stick it out. And keep in your mind that the better job you do, the less likely you are to do it twice. Okay. Now we're going to get this iron on this third wire. Give it a little bit of solder. Heat him up. Boop. Looking good. Wait for that solder to cool. I'm going to slip that heat shrink down. That solder is not cool. Oh, yeah, it is. Cool enough. Got a pretty good breeze blowing out here. It ain't real hard, but it's enough for the likes of... why am I getting hung on every little thing? Okay, right there. I'm going to give that a shrink. Around from the back side. Around from this side. Now what? What is wrong with this thing? My clicker is no longer clicking. I just broke this. It's not that old. Great. Last thing I want to do is take apart a pressurized lighter to find out why the clicky's not clicking. Excelente. Well, I'm going to put that in lock. Put the cover on. At least I got this shrunk. I was going to give it another little squirt, but I think it had enough. That's got that seat switch fixed. But now we got the next problem. Let me unplug this. Get it sitting over here cooling, because it takes longer to cool down than it does to heat up. Let's set that on barbecue pit. I can't possibly hurt that. Okay, so we're moving on to our next problem. This is a bigger problem. Let me see how I can get you where you can see. This seat, yeah, of course, I'm in my own way, as usual. Oh my God, really? All right. So here's the issue here. Camera? My God, this ain't my day. All right. Here's the issue. This seat is basically ripped out. It's completely out there, and it's all but out here. So there ain't nothing holding that but hope. It is just barely hanging on. I gotta get that off there. Then I'm gonna hammer this back down flat. I'm gonna weld a nice piece of plate on there. Probably a strip about like this, a fairly thick piece. Drill some holes Maybe I'll take one of these old seats apart. I've got several of those seat bases. But anyway, I'll get a piece of plate welded on there. And what'll happen is it'll be attached again, because right now, not so much. Not so much attached at all. You scoot around that seat very much, you'd have it in the battery. So we're going to have to do that. Let me see what I'm going to have to do to take that seat off. I mean, obviously wrench, but what's really holding it right now? Is there any metal left? Well, not on that side. What's left on this side? Nothing. What's in there? Well, it sure looks like nothing. Let me just wobble that around a little. Probably come off on its own, because there's just a tiny little scrap of metal holding that. And I mean, it is tiny. There we go. We're just going to set that out the way. Somewhere over here, maybe. And now you see the problem. These holes are tore out. And that's all it was. Holes in this body. There wasn't any kind of reinforcement there at all. So, we're going to need a little tappy tap. See if I can find a little tap hammer. Might end up with a mallet, but that'd be alright too. As long as it does the job. See, there's a rubber mallet. Well, hard face. That's what you call a plastic mallet. Ooh, it's got shaky shakies in it. So I guess that means it's a dead blow. That might work. This side, over here, don't need nothing. This side, though, it's got to get a little flatter. Okay. Now all I need is a piece of metal right there. That means I'm going to have to grind that considerably. And it means I'm going to have to find a piece of metal of appropriately sized, maybe even with the holes. It'd be nice. Let me see what I got. I'll be back in a second. Okay, well, I moved this operation indoors in the shade, because when I start welding, if I got a bunch of sunlight, I can't see through my welding helmet for whatever reason. So we got to rough this up a little. It's got paint on it. And you can weld through paint. It just makes a mess. You know, this thing almost looks like it's leaving more behind than it's picking up. Kind of weird. Oh, that's a problem. Alright, well, that ain't great, but it'll do. This piece really don't have much on it. I'm going to give it a little buzz down the edge. That's about it. This is, I think my grinding thing is about ground out. Well, let's go this way. That'd probably be good enough. Well, we got to get her square in the hole. We got some clampies here. I'm going to put the clampy to it. Probably kick the camera around a little bit. Let's see here. Probably about as good as I'm going to get. Loosen this just a nudge. Let's see if I can clamp this down tight. That one's pretty good. We can keep it where we want it while I get the other one. Loosen that just a nudge. Okay. That'll do for the front. We'll start tacking that down. I find my welding helmet. Filthy as it is. Imagine a welding helmet getting dirty. You don't see that every day. All right. Get my stool because I'll probably be sitting down for at least some of this. Oh, geez. And I'm going to need to set my welder up. Give me just a second. Okay, I think we're ready. Let's go ahead and start tacking this down a little bit. I have to go off the mic for just a minute, but you'll probably hear some of it. Hope that's enough ground. Blew a couple of holes. Afraid I poked a couple of holes in it there. It's thin steel, and I wasn't moving fast enough, basically. There goes my helmet. Oh. You know, wearing glasses with a welding helmet, especially reading glasses, that you normally have to look over the top of. Kind of a fool's errand. like to seal them holes up. That don't mean I'll get to. Let that cool a little bit. Then I might wire brush that some. I don't know if you can even hear me. Let that cool a little bit, and I'm going to wire brush it some. See how bad it is and fill up them holes. It looked like the weld was pretty good mostly, except of course for those ridiculous holes. Alright, I'll be back in a bit. Alright, I gave it the power wire brush. I'm going to shoot this. I got a little Rust-Oleum rust reformer now. Even though this isn't currently rusty, it's going to be. Bare metal, just been wire brushed. And it's black. So what we're trying to do is head that off at the pass. My guess is a little bit of paint. Probably save this for just that little bit longer. Maybe it'll last till the engine gives. That looks pretty good. Look at that, it's overhauled. It's like a new one. Alright, you're supposed to turn your can upside down and spray it to get the paint out of it 90% of the time. This one doesn't really say. Turn your can upside down, yeah? There, it cleared. I was going to say, I had it upside down for a while and nothing happened. Just needed a little while longer. Alright, I'm going to put my paint up. I think that's where we're going to call it for this video. We've about done what we can do with it for today. Next time I'll bolt that seat on. May do that off camera. That's pretty boring. Put the battery and cords and stuff back in. And we're going to do something about these back tires. They're pretty bad. They're really bad. I called the guy and told him, I said, you know, I'd put them other tires off that other mower, the parts mower you sent over here, on here, but they're yellow instead of green, and they ain't going to match since these are all green. Look pretty good. I mean, yeah, the mower doesn't look that good, but them wheels sure are fancy. And he says, well, I don't care if they're yellow. Okay, then. So if I can get them off, that's going to expedite this and save him some money. I'll just swap them right over. Yellow in the back, green in the front. Ain't going to affect how it mows one bit. All right, guys. If you like the video, like and subscribe. And we will see you on part 3.